All right, man. Watching another interview in the Uncharted podcast where we talk about art and the artists behind it. Today, I have Andre Rochester with me.
I'm Andre Rochester, and you're watching Uncharted Podcast.
Uncharted, oh, this is Uncharted. Who is Andre Rochester?
I'm an artist. I'm an art advocate. I'm an art instructor these days. I'm a number of things. I wear a few hats these days.
Yep.
Most importantly, I guess you can call me an arts professional.
Okay.
I guess that's kind of all encompassing.
Yep.
So, yeah, I do a little bit of everything artsy as much as I can. I'm a full-time artist. We're actually here in the 224 Eco Space, which is where I have my part-time gig.
Okay.
I'm in charge of the Artists of Color Accelerate Fellowship, which is a program that pairs 10 artists from the greater Hartford area with 10 art organizations, and they build a collaborative relationship with each other. So this is establishing an opportunity to work closely with organizations that may not always either reach out to artists of color or have trouble working with artists of color because they don't know how to engage.
Gotcha.
And so there's some training on both sides, right? You have the professional development stuff for the artists, and then you have some organizational development training that happens for the organization so that they have a better understanding of how to better engage the artists of color community.
Okay. So now, is this specifically for artists of color?
Specifically, yes.
Okay. Now, you said there's 10 artists, so that's not a big group. So how, as an artist, how do you become one of those 10?
You apply. So there's an application process. I'm actually from the first cohort from this program. So
okay.
this is a new program, first of its kind in the Hartford area that at least I know of.
Yeah.
I participated in that first cohort. I applied. It required me to answer a few questions. It's not a hard application.
Okay.
And then I submitted a video introducing myself and then kind of sharing some of my vision as an artist, who I am.
Yeah.
Provided some samples of my work, and then a little while after applying, I found out that I made it in. And I ended up being one of those artists, and they paired me with the Amistad Center at Wadsworth Academy.
Okay. So what kind of projects did you do with them once you got into the program?
So I was able to work with them on a few instructional videos. I actually taught some drawing classes in the galleries at Wadsworth.
Okay.
And I look forward to doing some more stuff with them. It's really about building a relationship at the end of the day. So some of us worked on projects, and some of us focused more on, finding ways to ensure that they know they have a collaborative partner for future endeavors. And so for me, success is keeping the relationship going.
Oh yeah,
So
relationships
that's
are
where
key.
I am. Yeah.
For sure. What does art mean to you, and like what has it been for you in your life?
Art is a tool for connection. Art is a tool for healing. It is something that's got me through like the toughest times of my life.
Okay.
It was my coping mechanism when I was growing up. So I had to take care of my mom, who was really sick. She had multiple sclerosis, and medications were nowhere near like what they are today. Unfortunately, I lost her when I was 16 due to some complications with the disease.
Yeah.
I was a kid who didn't have many outlets to express themselves. I was, a pretty quiet kid to begin with. But you add having a sick parent at home and some of the challenges that come with that. It didn't help, right? And so art became my form of expression. It was my healthy way of just kind of getting out those emotions. And so I used to be in my room drawing all the time, and that's what it is, man. So art is something that's very personal to me in that regard. Now it's a way of life. I mean, I do this full time. Everything that I do is all art based.
For sure.
Whether it's painting something, or it's designing something, or working with others and consulting them and developing something, even curating.
Yeah.
So art is it's a way for me to establish my value in my community, but just in this world in general. I think that I have a lot to contribute in in respect to my art, but it's also the things that I do around art that has helped me.
Yeah.
And that is quite frankly helping other people.
For sure, for sure. So when you were young and art was helping you get through while you were dealing with your mother being sick, is that like the moment when you knew like I want to be an artist, I want to do art forever?
So the moment that I realized that I wanted to do this forever was when I started to get good feedback in high school, and folks were like really like noticing my talent, and they were admiring my work, and that made me feel like I had a sense of value in a time when I felt like I was nothing. So that told me, okay, this is my way to show the world that I'm not just a regular person. Like I got something special. And I realized that. And then I started to get involved in these different programs, doing art projects, like some murals and stuff. Like I actually worked on some murals when I was in high school. I was like 16, 17 years old, working on murals with established artists in the community, like folks who are well respected even to this day. And that was something that showed me that this is something I can do and actually, make a job out of it. And then eventually I went to school for art and I studied illustration.
Okay. So what school did you go to for art?
UConn. I went to University of Connecticut. Went to the School of Fine Arts and I studied illustration there. Eventually, I had to leave. Owed a little money. Couldn't pay it back. So because of that debt, don't get student loans, y'all. Because of that debt, I had to leave early, and it was a shame because it was my last semester.
Gotcha.
I couldn't sign up for the classes that I needed for my final semester. And so, fast forward 7 years later, I was finally able to finish my degree. Luckily, all my art requirements and all that stuff was done at UConn. So I didn't have to worry about that. I had general education courses that I needed to take.
Oh, cool.
And so I found Charter Oak State College. They had an online program that focuses on helping people finish their degrees.
Okay.
And they happen to do a BA in studio art, and so that's the route that I took to finish my bachelor's.
Nice. So now, I know a lot of artists don't necessarily have that opportunity to go to school. Do you feel like it was beneficial to you overall, or do you feel like, I was doing this already?
So some of my friends who went to art school might not like this answer, because the truth is you don't need to go to art school to be an artist. You need to be creative. You need to be good at what you do.
Right.
It was beneficial to me in that I learned a little bit about what the industry could be like for me.
Okay.
Now, mind you, at that time I wasn't a fine artist. I was just an illustration student. But now I'm a fine artist. I'm a painter, and I don't focus on doing books and things like that. Most of the time, I don't even want those types of projects. But I got a taste of what it could be for me. I was exposed to people who were working artists. Every instructor that I had, those were people who were actively in the industry doing something. Like they were doing gallery shows and stuff. My painting teacher is still doing shows with like world famous artists to this day. So I was around people like that. So the benefit is who you're exposed to.
For sure.
The education that you get in art school is about developing your craft and becoming a better artist. You have somebody who's a professional that's there to guide you to do it. But that doesn't mean you can't learn this on your own and become really good at it. And I learned a bunch of rules that I had to unlearn so I could be a better artist later. But the thing about being a professionally trained artist versus the person who doesn't go to school for it is I know the rules so I can break them strategically. I get you. The self-taught artist isn't going to know all that, but they have an advantage because it's all exploration for them. So they learn better ways to create just by doing it. And so they have freedom. Okay. I gotta unlearn shit.
I can completely understand that because my thing is music, and I was doing it before, and then I went to school, and like you said, I learned a bunch of technical stuff, and that would always get in the way of the creative because I'd be like focused on the rules.
You think that it has to be this way, right? And the truth is, art is whatever you make it, and usually the art that gets all of the prestige and all of that artwork is the stuff that folks have broken the rules on. That's where they've stepped outside of that box and they've actually challenged the rules.
Yeah.
And they do so in a big way.
Gotcha. So you mentioned at one point you were just like an illustration student and then you moved up to a fine artist. So can you define what a fine artist is for me?
So illustration is commercial art.
Yeah.
Graphic design, that's commercial art.
Okay.
If I am painting something just to decorate your office, that is commercial art.
Okay.
Fine art, however, it has something to say. Fine art is not made for the sake of making a picture. It's made because they want to invoke some kind of emotion.
Yeah.
They want to send some kind of message to the viewer.
Yeah.
They want to impact you in some way. That's what fine art really is.
Gotcha.
And that could be abstract, it could be representational, it could be whatever. But I don't make pictures just because I want to draw a flower.
Yeah.
I'm not here to draw your name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's not what I'm going to do.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'll do a portrait, but my portrait might be a little different.
Okay. So when you're making your art, what kind of message are you trying to convey?
I've talked about my own personal experiences in my art. I've shared a lot of personal narrative in my work. But I like to connect people through the emotion that you get from the piece. So I'll show situations that express how I feel.
Okay.
Not necessarily what the situation specifically was.
Gotcha.
So I have a few pieces that are just about overcoming obstacles and getting past dark places in life, right?
Yeah.
Then I have other things where I talk about social justice. I have some social awareness pieces that they tackle police violence and stuff like that. Some activism pieces, if you will. Yeah. And I have other things that are just about kind of celebrating who we are.
Yeah.
Just black culture, just black people, just being, just being, really.
Sure.
And that is the message. Just finding joy in life. And that's actually, that's kind of the wave I'm on right now. Like I'm all about black joy.
Yeah.
If anything, this year has taught me is when you pursue joy, that's exactly what you want to get.
Yeah.
Right? So that happiness in who I am and wanting to celebrate our people in spite of all of the other shit that's going on, right? All those other challenges that we face. Now, I'm not blind to it. I'm not, turning my head to it. Like, I know it exists.
Right.
But black joy in itself is a form of resistance.
Absolutely.
And, really, really what my message is you can't take that from me.
Yeah.
You can't steal my happiness. Can't steal our happiness.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So, do you have a preferred medium that you like to work with?
I mainly work in acrylic.
Okay.
Yeah. Acrylic painting has been my thing for the past 15 years.
Okay.
I can draw. Like I actually draw pretty well. I think I draw better than I can paint. But painting provides a challenge. Okay. And I like that challenge of having to maneuver the brush and trying to figure out how to create the image that I want to create, right? Drawing a portrait I can do in maybe 3-4 hours. Painting a portrait, maybe 12. Right?
Yeah.
There's that process
of
going through this problem solving, through building something up, watching it evolve that I just like.
Gotcha.
I can do oil paints, but I'm not that patient. Oil takes a long time to dry, and I don't want to deal with all the chemicals and stuff that I would have to use in order to make it fast drying.
Gotcha.
So acrylic is the safest. Acrylic is fast drying, it only dries in minutes. So I just work with that.
I see you do like a lot of workshops and stuff like that. Do you have something that do you prefer teaching painting over illustration?
So I don't teach illustration at all.
At all? Okay.
I don't touch it at all. So it's basic drawing, basic painting. That's my primary focus.
So what's basic drawing?
So basic drawing is really teaching you, the difference between the pencils that we use. Like, it's not a number 2 pencil that I'm drawing with. Like, I have it's a whole set. There's like 10 of them. right?
Like the
All of those,
2H.
yeah, all of that stuff. So helping people understand, why do those many pencils even exist, right? What's the difference in the lead? How to use those to make a good image, right?
Yep.
Then there's composition, right? How are you making your picture so that it's appealing, right? Anybody can draw a picture, but can you draw a good one, right?
Yeah.
Composition has a lot to do with that. Color theory is one thing that I talk about a lot, and learning how to use color. Again, going back to what I said in my work, I like to invoke emotion. I want you to feel something.
Yep.
When you see my work, it's all in the color.
Yes.
There's a purpose for every color. They all have meanings, and I go into understanding what that meaning is.
Yeah.
How do you see color in the world around you and stuff like that. And then I also will just talk in general about art making and just developing a painting or developing a drawing, and I'll share my own story, my own experience with art and how it's helped me. I do some speaking engagements as well. So,
Okay. You like speaking in public?
I've gotten better at it.
Yeah.
I used to work a job that required me to get up and present, and that's how I got used to it.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm a very introverted person, so it's not something that comes naturally to me. I had to learn how to do the public speaking, and honestly, most people are scared to do it anyway. So I figure I'm no different than anybody else that gets up on that stage, right? So I've had the privilege of giving a commencement speech this year at a performing arts high school graduation, and there was about 200 people in the room, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
And I've gone to schools and spoke to groups of like 30, 40, sometimes 50, depending on what it is. And I spoke to groups as small as 10 people.
Okay.
So because I've had the experience in my past life working in corporate, and then the stuff that I've been asked to do throughout this year is something that I've grown to like.
Gotcha. So just going back really quick, when you were talking about different colors and how colors can have different meanings.
Yeah.
When you're making your paintings, do you use a color wheel? Like, do you actually sit there with a color wheel, or do you have it memorized at this point?
So I mean, because I went to art school, like I don't have to use a color wheel.
Okay.
I had that kind of beat into me, so I know what my complementary, secondary colors, and tertiary, primaries, and all that stuff is. I understand how that works.
I'm just now learning that now.
Yeah. So once you get it,
you're
never gonna forget it. You will never forget it once you understand it. What I do to select my colors is I compare them to a grayscale.
Okay.
Because sometimes I use colors that are not traditional, right? Like if I was painting your portrait, for instance, I might use like purple, green, yellow, and red.
Oh, okay.
Won't be no brown in there, right?
Yeah.
You got mad shades of brown, right?
Yeah.
But what am I gonna do with all those colors? So whatever's closest to a certain shade of gray, that's how I know what to do with my colors.
Okay.
So yellow is my highlight, obviously, right?
Yeah.
If I wanted to go dark, I'd use a dark blue or purple.
Okay.
Greens and reds tend to make really good midtones, maybe an orange.
Gotcha.
So I just kind of go with that.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Do you have a favorite color?
Green.
My man, that's my favorite color. Like, now, is there a specific green that you like, or?
There's a specific green that I use a lot in my paintings.
Yep.
I use it to mix. The best way to describe it would be like trying to think what's a good. Actually, this green in this guy's painting up towards the corner there.
Oh, okay. Yep.
It's kind of close to that.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, you can kind of see it in the video.
Yeah.
It's almost like not like a leaf green, but it's a warm tone.
So, and is there any reason why you like green?
Green represents life. It represents growth. It represents abundance, prosperity.
Okay.
I used to wear a lot of black.
Yeah.
And then, that had a lot to do with just being in a state of mourning, right? And then as I got older and I started to realize, something about just the energy around me.
Yep.
Not that black was my favorite color, because it wasn't.
Yeah.
I just started to gravitate towards green a lot.
Gotcha.
Because as my life began to shift, I started to grow. I started to develop into this newer person, and green just kept popping up.
Gotcha.
It's like all this green stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's green in pretty much 99% of my paintings have green in it,
Gotcha.
in some way.
Yep.
So having that in there, I'm just like, okay, well, this is clearly, it's a little bit more than just being my favorite color, right?
Yeah.
There's a connection to this color green
Yep.
in my life, and so I just stuck with it, man.
Gotcha. Well, for me, I was young, and I just liked money, and I was like, okay, well, money is green. I like green. And then as I got getting older, I started learning that there were other shades, and I was just like, all of them are pretty cool, and I've just been on Team
Just
Green
rock
ever
with it.
since. Yeah, like, so yeah, that's that.
That's what's up.
I saw you have a billboard, or I don't know if it's still up.
Yeah, it'll be up for a few months.
Okay, how did you get that opportunity?
So that opportunity was brought to me by someone who works for the company out front.
Yeah.
And they've been following my work for a while, and they actually give an artist an opportunity to have a billboard once a year.
Okay.
I happen to be the third artist that they've selected.
Nice.
And I was given the chance to either do something that I already had made or create something specifically for it.
Yep.
And so they gave me the specs and everything. So I just made the piece.
Okay.
And I figured, what better way to, one, get my art out there, and two, celebrate this opportunity than to make it a Hartford sign.
Yeah.
So I made the Hartford letters, and I put some well-known landmarks in there, some things that represent the arts in Hartford.
Yep.
And that's really how that came about. It was a blessing that was brought to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't something I expected. It wasn't something that I even thought I'd ever be able to do.
Yeah.
It is something that I imagined having. I used to think about it. It'd be kind of cool if I had a billboard. I don't see too many artists that do that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And here we are.
Yeah.
I got a free opportunity to have a billboard, a printed one and digital.
Well, that's crazy. Like the fact that you said you didn't ask for that; they were watching you, and they just brought the opportunity to you.
I ain't asked for
My
it.
father always told me, he was like, "Hey, man, do whatever you're gonna do. Do it well. 'Cause somebody's always watching. You don't know who. Somebody's always
do it well
watching.
and do it with passion, because somebody's always paying attention. That's something that this year more than ever I've been reminded of.
Yeah.
People are paying attention to the things that I'm doing. That's because I've been consistent.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm not doing it with the wrong intentions.
Gotcha.
I'm out here, trying to be someone positive and to have a positive impact on the community and hopefully on the world.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the good things that have happened to me this year is really good karma.
Yeah.
That's all I can boil it down to. It's good karma.
Definitely. So, what are your long-term plans for your art?
Long term, I would like to, first off, I'd like to be painting 50%, at a minimum, 50% of my time. I'd like to be focusing on creating work, right? I'm an artist, right? That's always going to be a part of my identity. That's always going to be who I am. But I also want to ensure that there's space for me to help other artists. And so long term, there's the work with the fellowship. There's the advocacy stuff that I'm doing and kind of getting myself involved in the arts community at a state level. I want that to definitely happen. I'm in a fellowship now for art administrators, and I'm going to be starting one for art leaders really soon. So the art administrator one is going to be finishing I think in November. The Art Leaders Fellowship, which is a national fellowship, that I just got accepted into. Like I just thank you. Like I just found out like maybe 4 days ago.
Oh, okay.
I got accepted this year. It's super fresh.
Yeah.
That's gonna start at the end of this month.
Okay.
So that one, only 50 people get in.
Oh wow.
One person per state.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
It's a huge deal.
Definitely.
It's a huge deal. So you're hearing it here first. I actually didn't post this or anything.
Okay.
So not many people know about it, but that's something I'm really looking forward to, and I think it's going to help me with my long-term goals of being impactful at a national and state level.
Definitely. So for you, being impactful on the national level, like what what does that look like for you?
If I'm able to create opportunities for artists,
Yeah.
if I'm able to thrive as an artist and as someone who is in a position to make stuff happen versus being the person who's looking for something to happen.
Gotcha.
That's what I would call success.
Okay.
My goal is not to be world famous or anything like that. I'm not looking for superstardom. I'm looking to be influential and impactful.
Yep.
Because your influence and your impact is what your legacy is. Fame is not a legacy.
Absolutely.
Fame is something that is temporary. People like you for however long, and then they don't care about you anymore.
Right.
Your impact and your influence lives on long before you do. So that's I guess my quest for immortality.
Yeah, for sure. Just like your art or your music is always gonna live way beyond
Live
you.
way beyond you, and that's what I want. And with a baby on the way, these are things that I'm thinking about. What is my legacy going to be?
Oh yeah.
And, hopefully this child of mine will also be an artist.
Yeah.
You
gonna be a little boy or
a
girl?
little boy.
Okay.
A little boy.
He's your first?
Yeah, my first kid. I'm
Excited?
super excited.
Yeah,
Super excited.
man. My 11-year-old is actually like part of the inspiration for this podcast.
Wow.
Because he would come. He's an artist.
Okay.
He would come and ask me questions that Daddy doesn't have the answer, and his assumption is that I know everything. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me ask some actual artists.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of gonna ask questions for you. Like, he's
That's
the
what's up.
#1 fan of the podcast.
That's what's up.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
So, with that being said, as an artist, how do you decide the price for your work, more or less?
That's a loaded question.
I know, because I know it's like,
I mean, everybody asks this question, but nobody has a real answer for it.
Yeah.
And the truth is, art is something that is subjective, and so people miscalculate the value of it all the time.
yeah,
Like literally all the time. And so rather than tell you what my dollar amounts are and why, I want you to consider the amount of time that somebody puts into their art. And it's not just the time that they spend making it.
Yeah.
It's the time that they spend learning how to make it. It's the commitment to developing something so much to a point where you are seen as a professional and folks actually want to purchase it in the first place, right?
Yeah.
That takes a lot. That's a huge investment in yourself and in your work.
Definitely.
Then there's the cost of supplies, right?
Yep.
Supplies ain't cheap.
Right.
Good supplies ain't cheap.
Yep.
My supplies are good.
What kind of what brand do you like to use? Just curious.
I use Golden and Liquitex acrylics.
Okay.
Those are the main brands that I work with because I'm most familiar with them and they are professional quality paints.
Okay.
So I like a number of different products that are out there. Again, this stuff is not cheap.
Yep.
And that money has to come from somewhere, right?
Yep.
My product.
Yeah.
There's also the market that we're in. If I want to appeal to a certain customer base, then I am supposed to charge a certain amount because those are the people who are going to purchase my work.
Gotcha.
Then there's also ways to make your artwork accessible through prints and t-shirts and things like that.
Yeah.
And if you're a true collector, you'll understand that the value that you get in that piece is in how much you connect with it, but also in ensuring that that artist, at least for that moment that you connected with that work and made that purchase,
Yep.
will be able to walk in their purpose
Yeah.
and still be able to, create more artwork.
For sure.
So all that to say, my work is not cheap,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not getting cheap quality either.
Right.
I put in a lot.
Yeah.
I put in a lot of hours.
Yep.
I mean, I can spend up to 60 hours painting one painting.
Gotcha.
So that needs to come, that needs to be
Compensated.
aligned with the compensation, right?
Absolutely.
Also, I'm at a point in my career where I've been doing this for 15 years, right?
Yep.
And so having been in this for 15 years, you have to ask yourself, if you spent that long working in a particular field, do you think you should be getting paid the bare minimum?
Absolutely not.
Right.
No one's going to say yes to that question.
If it's your job, right?
Yep.
Are you going to accept minimum wage for 15 years of experience and having gone to college for it? And I have 2 degrees, by the way.
Okay.
Right. So I'm a professional.
Yeah.
And you know, the pricing conversation is one that can be sensitive for some.
Mm-hmm.
I don't engage in like back and forth about what I charge for my work. I'll make it accessible to you.
Yep.
You can pay in installments,
Mm-hmm.
but I will not argue about prices.
Yep.
I will not be put in a position where I need to explain them, because I don't. I'm past that part of my career.
For sure.
And I think a lot of artists out here
Yep.
need to get past that part too.
Gotcha.
Because if you put in the work, if you've made something that is quality, you've made something that is impactful and can have an effect on your audience, and you have something powerful to say with your work, then whatever price you assign to it is the price that should be paid.
Okay. So now I understand that perspective for a seasoned artist. Now, what do you say to the artist who's been at it for 6 months when they're trying to sell something?
So if you've been at it for 6 months, ask seasoned artists about how art is priced and what goes into that. Because see, what a newer artist will often do is they will sell themselves short. They'll undercut and not even realize that they're not even breaking even on the work that they put in.
Gotcha.
So, for instance, we'll just throw an arbitrary thing out. If you do a 16 by 20 painting and you sell it for $100, I guarantee you more than $100 of effort went into that painting. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
And that's in the hours alone spent on the painting.
Yeah. And that makes sense.
Because if you spend 5 hours doing that painting, right, and you only charge $100, it's $20 an hour.
And then you still gotta think about the materials.
Exactly. So you being paid $20 an hour for your time, not the materials that you know they had to spend money on,
Right.
not the space that you probably have to rent to create it, right?
Yeah.
Not the electricity so that you have lights to even see the canvas when you're painting late at night, right?
Yep.
So these are things that have to be considered. It's like any other business. Those expenses are put into the cost of the work that you provide or the service that you provide. And so a younger artist or emerging artist or somebody who's new, they need to understand that it's not just about the time, it's not just about where you are in your career, it's about having a business mindset towards it and make sure that you are not selling yourself short. Because if you're selling paintings for cheap just because you want your stuff out there, you are not going to survive.
Gotcha.
And it's just what it is.
For sure. So let me ask you this. Do you think there's any such thing as bad art?
Yeah.
What would you consider to be some bad art?
Bad art is when people do it with bad intentions. when you do something because you think it's going to sell,
oh, okay.
you're a bad artist.
Got you.
Like, what the hell are you doing it for?
Yeah.
You doing it for money or you doing it because you got something to say?
Gotcha.
I feel like you owe it to yourself to have a different approach to what you're doing.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion, and I don't think that those people are bad people.
Yep.
I think that they may have a misunderstanding of what the power of art truly can be, and what they hold in their minds and in their hands.
Yeah, well, no, that's an interesting answer because it's like a no, not really.
Yeah, you get the politically correct answer, right?
It's always up to opinion. You know what I'm saying?
It is always up to opinion, but you asked me an opinion, I'm giving it to you.
No, I'm with that 100%.
Yeah, and what I will say though is I'm not going to tell you that I think somebody's a bad artist.
Yeah.
That's an opinion that's going to be kept to myself.
Right.
My job as somebody who advocates for artists, regardless of how good or bad you might be, is for you to, at some point, hopefully in any conversation that I have, at some point, realize that you can do much better than what you are. Yeah.
So, what about your website? Can you shout out your website?
Yeah. So y'all can go to AndreRochester.com. That's my website. That's AndreRochester. You can follow me on Instagram, Dre B Painting. That's DREBPAINTIN, and that's the letter B, not the word, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm on Facebook as Dre B Painting as well. And you can follow my business page too, as Rochester Fine Art.
Nice. Well, I think that's it for today, man. I appreciate your time.
Man, thanks for having me, bro.
Conversation.
Appreciate it, man.
Catch y'all in the next one.
All right, y'all.
All right.